If you're planning on purchasing a home in Petaluma or Sonoma County, you're going to need to know everything about the inspection process. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm Karen Prestegard with eXp Realty of California, and I've helped many of you now make the transition in Petaluma and the surrounding areas. I've worked with new home buyers who have no expectations of what goes on in inspection, other than what they have read online. But then I worked with other clients who have bought homes previously, and they have certain expectations going into the process, as there might be some differences from state to state, but within California, it's pretty much the same in every region. One thing of note, I'm not a home inspector, and I'm definitely not an expert by any means. However, I do have some observations to share with you, as well as some things that I advise my clients on, so that they get all inspections performed that are reasonable and necessary. Make sure to stick around and I'll answer whether or not a survey is required in the purchase of a new property in California. I've got chapters in the description below if you'd like to skip ahead. But do me a favor really quick and hit that like button. It really helps to support the channel and train the YouTube algorithm to find awesome people just like you. During the general inspection, this is where your home inspector comes out and really looks at every aspect of the home, all of the major systems, appliances, as well as any defects present on interior and exterior of the home. They'll go up on the roof if they can. You know, sometimes the homes that they're making nowadays, the pitch on the roof is a little bit too high, but the home inspector will get as far as they can, or they can send up the drone as well. If you want it included during the inspection, your inspector will also inspect any attic or crawl space. And one thing that has come up on multiple inspections is unknown growth. Is it mold? I don't know. You don't know. Your inspector doesn't know. Unless you get specific mold testing, which can be lengthy and expensive, the only way to know for sure if it's mold would be to test it. Another thing that will commonly come up on inspections will be anything having to do with the electrical code. It changes from time to time, so if your home is a little bit older, chances are the electrical codes might need some updating. So this doesn't necessarily mean that the home is about to catch on fire. It just means that the state requires things like this. It's usually inexpensive, replacing an outlet, replacing a plug, $60. Not necessarily having to hire an electrician. If you're handy around the house, you may be able to do some of this yourself. And as far as the termite inspection goes, in Sonoma County, we do have bugs. So it is likely you're going to see termites as well as other wood-destroying organisms during the termite inspection. The inspector will go out. He will look for any current or past infestations. If they do see anything, they'll draw a rendering of the home to indicate where they saw that activity present. I've had homes that did have signs of termite infestation, homes that were recently treated, as well as homes that had no evidence of any activity. Usually, if there's anything present, the seller will be amenable to having someone go out and spray for termites at the home. By the way, leave us a comment below. What are your concerns with the home inspection process? Do you have any horror stories that you can share with us? So if you're purchasing a home in the city, chances are you're on the public sewer system. In the county, we most typically see septic systems. Outside, you'll see a septic system, so you literally have the tank in your yard. Stuff goes in there when you flush, the solids stay in the tank, and the liquids get absorbed out into your yard. And that's what's known as leach lines. Well, that's my super technical description. Most septic inspectors will they would like a map of the septic system, but that isn't always available. In that case, they have the big metal rod that they'll poke into the ground to search for the top of the tank. From there, they'll dig a little bit of space until they can reach the lid of the tank, and then they'll pull off the lid. And then they will pump the solids out of the tanks. They'll inspect the tank for cracks at that point, as well as look at the field lines. And I've only had really a couple of things come up during septic inspections. Nothing that's a deal breaker. Number one, don't ever flush wipes or feminine products if you have a septic system, because there's literally no place for them to go. They don't get broken down, and you don't want that absorbed into your leach lines. So far, I've never had an inspection where the tank was cracked, but I have had a couple come up where a tree was growing either too close to the tank or the leach line. Tree roots are bad for septic systems. Don't plant trees near your septic system. They can destroy the field lines, and if it's too close to the tank, it could potentially crush the tank, giving it a crack, or heaven forbid, if it came uprooted and pulled up your entire septic system out of your yard. Now that would be a crappy situation. Okay, so if you're purchasing a property that's in a rural area or on a large tract of land, you might want access to a private water supply, commonly known as a well. You may want to get the water tested for the presence of minerals or anything else. It's possible that the groundwater could be contaminated with chemicals like petroleum solvents, metals, biological pathogens like viruses, parasites, or bacteria. And we recommend that you get annual testing for bacteria and pathogen. Depending on the result of the testing water, treatment might be necessary. And lastly, surveys. Are they necessary? A quick answer is no. Not typically is a survey necessary for the transfer of property in the state of California. So most typically, a survey is done when the seller is portioning off a part of the land that is not going to be sold in the transfer of the deed. Additionally, you might need to get one if boundary lines are in question. Otherwise, the homeowner typically just goes by the boundaries that are stated on the deed. So unless for one of those reasons or for some other reason that you have to have a survey, I typically recommend against it, especially if you're on a time crunch. Because performing a survey, it's going to add an additional 6 to 8 plus weeks or so to your timeline. It really just all depends on the surveyor's schedule. Additionally, this is more costly than other inspections, and it really depends on the amount of land, how expensive it's going to get. It's necessary, but it's just not typically done with a transfer of a property. Give this video a like and be the first to know when I post. I really have so much more to tell you all about life and real estate in Sonoma County. I'll see you at the next video.